Hello. This is a special holiday winter break edition of Caregiver Connections. It's me, Ann Ruiz, parenting and wellness support here at Head Start and Early Head Start, and just wanting to give a couple ideas to prepare your family for winter break. So we got 3 tips to reduce stress and to really actually enjoy your winter break as much as we can as parents. So, tip number 1, talk about it. We're going to talk about what to expect before it happens so that we're kind of understanding the new, routine, the schedule, not going to Head Start, you know, not going to the different, routine scheduled things that we are doing generally week to week. So talk about if we're just not doing that, if we are doing other things, parties and activities, um, set the expectations. What will happen that's different and what will be the same? A lot of kids can really benefit from knowing what's going to stay the same, even when things will change. There'll be new things going on. But that can be feeling, more safe and connected when they know what we will keep doing, even though the schedule is different. And really make it a whole family discussion. So the grown-ups need to know, the older siblings need to know, even the baby needs to know. Include everyone so that everyone is on board. And then really stick to the plan that you make as the parent, the caregiver in charge. Um, you know, of course, we all need to have flexibility, especially when we're off our general routine and schedule. But make a general plan and try to stick with it so that kids especially aren't getting thrown off. And then, of course, that impacts grown-ups as well, to kind of really lose track of the general plan. How we're going to get back, think about how we're going to get back on the routine. Um, and so, are we going to try, even when our schedule is a little different, if we're going to travel and stay somewhere else, if we're going to go to different activities or parties? Are we going to be out late? Are we going to maybe try to get home for bedtime or bring pajamas to the party so that we are helping to stick to some general parts of our routine and give them that sense of yep, we're still getting to bed, we're still getting our rest and taking breaks and things like that. Prioritize sleep and rest is our tip number 2. And so that I was already bringing that into the last slide where we were talking about bring the pajamas or make sure we're getting home at a certain time to stick to parts of our routine, just as long as we are making sure we're getting enough rest. We're not just go, or we're not, just really not sticking to those regular nap times or bedtimes. That can really have an impact on our little ones. So do your best to maintain some sort of sleep routine or add in certain rest times. And so, depending on where you are, what you're doing, what can we do to add in that rest? That could be taking a walk, just getting away from a bigger crowd. That could be having quiet time. Is there a quieter room in the house you're staying at, and where the party that you're at, that you could just take your kids to get a little moment away? Actually do the nap, if they're able to sleep at in another environment. Stick to it, or again, leave at nap time, go home at nap time, whatever, work around the nap time. Or just take rest days in between events. Sometimes we see one family, then we see another family, and can we plan to kind of get a little downtime in between? And just consider how many and how often you're going to participate in activities. So maybe we have our family things, but then we're not going to do too much of the other community activities, or we have a mixture of the two, but try to get some rest days and relaxing days in between. Our tip number 3 is to just expect some level of struggle. So give your kids some grace as you get back to the routine. After all the excitement is over, the parties and activities are over. Try to build in some of that time to work through, making those adjustments back to the routine. Really focus on working as a team and relating to your kids' struggle. And so, helping them to understand that we're adjusting too. We know the change is tricky. There's a lot of excitement when seeing maybe different family members or just having more fun activities going on. That's hard for everyone, grown-ups and kids alike. And so, and going back to work after having some days off, that's hard for adults too, not just kids. And then focus on learning to cope. So how are we going to work through that struggle with our kiddos, for ourselves, to model to our kiddos how we're coping with, it's hard to say goodbye to grandma or to, my sister I don't see that often. And I'm going to, take a deep breath. I'm going to give them an extra long hug. Whatever's gonna, kind of help us to adjust to, going back to the normal routine. So we have some examples here. I know I'll miss seeing our family too. We will see them again as soon as we're able. I know it's been so much fun being all together. I'll miss spending time with you, and we still get to play when you come home from school. I know it's hard to get back to routine after break. I have to adjust too. So different ideas of how that could sound. Again, put it in your own words. Simplify it, make it work for you and your kiddo. But just having that general, relating conversation and showing how you're, working through that change can be really impactful to getting through it together. All right, we got a quick bonus tip too. Making it playful. It can always support. It can help us to reduce our stress if there's some resistance and some struggle bubbling up with our kids. So here's a quick idea. Pretend you forget how bedtime goes, if that's where the struggle is, or any part of the routine. So just play dumb and pretend oh my God, how does this go? Do you remember? So some examples: do we put our pajamas on in the kitchen or outside? And both of those are wrong, right? Maybe the kitchen could work. But, give two of those ideas that would be so silly. And so then your kid has that opportunity to correct you. Where do these pajamas go? On your head or on your arms? What do we use this brush for? Your feet or your belly button? And what kind of brush is it? It could be a hairbrush or a toothbrush. So all of that is just extra silly, right? And kids will love that. They'll want to correct you. And even if they don't correct you or start getting into the routine, they likely will join in with the silliness and just, giggle about it or start being silly themselves. And so then we can use that silliness to move us forward. Oh my gosh, you're so silly. You're putting your hairbrush on your feet. All right. And then we can, let's take the brush to, the bathroom and brush our hair with the mirror. And so we can, use it to join in with them and show them that we are, not stressed. We're not, taking it too seriously. We're not just getting frustrated. So they're much more likely to cooperate. So again, we're reducing our stress, right, as the grown up. All right. So we got our 3 tips and our bonus tip. Um, it Give yourself grace and have a great winter break, and we will see you back in the new year.